Really good practice today. Very sharp. Last 2 days been extremely sharp. Guys in a good frame of mind, I think, ready to compete in the game. Looking forward to the opportunity we have. Defense had a really good week. Very proud of the way they practiced really hard, getting looks and the speed and how they adjusted. I was very happy with that. Special teams, we kicked the ball well all week. Offensively, looked really sharp. I mean, threw and caught the ball, ran the ball. A lot of energy in practice. I mean, the guys know what's ahead of them, how they got to compete in the game, and that's, like I said, that's why you come to Florida State to play in these games. So, looking forward to that and the opportunity. Give you injury report. Legway's out, Shanks is out. Of course, Purifoy and Blake for the season. Everybody else is good to go, and very happy with Niles' progress. He's practiced the last 2 days full go, 100%. Tuesday he went about 3/4, and then he went against everything, good on good, everything. He's practiced really well. Of course, Eddie's been back all week, so PJ and Darby and those guys very proud and happy, ready to play.
Coach, we saw Citadel play really aggressive last game, and now I think it's safe to assume that Clemson's going to be fighting for every tooth and nail this first half. How have you been preparing Sean Maguire, not just physically, but also mentally?
It's just anytime. He competes against our defense every day and our scrimmages every day. Our practices are very intense. So I promise you, we'll be scratching for every inch too. We'll be ready to play, and he will too, and he'll relax and just trust the guys around him, keep making the smart plays, and they'll turn into big plays because Sean's got a lot of arm talent.
How has Sean taken the last couple of weeks, couple of days of being the starter?
I've been very pleased with him. Coming in, watching a lot of film. Him and Jameis spend a lot of time together, and Jameis helping him, and they spend a lot of time anyway, but looking at a lot of nuances and things that he sees, and I think that security blanket there helps a lot. You know what I mean? Just knowing you got a guy there and can help you on the sideline. But Randy, we've been very impressed with him in the meetings and sharp as attack.
You've had these situations before with EJ at Wake, Clint at Clemson. Do you handle these situations different with these guys?
No, you do what they do, and which is, if you go back and look, as I say, this is 3 out of 5 years that we've played Clemson with a backup quarterback since I've been here. We played in the first year with EJ, the 55-yard field goal game, then Clint up there, and then this one. And we've had, like I say, other teams, EJ at Wake, and had a great game. And so, those guys rally around them. We got good players, and we'll do what they do, but we'll run our offense. These guys have run the same offense that Jameis has been. Sean's running the same offense Jameis has been running in practice for all through last spring and fall. And I say they're more similar than they are different because of their arm talents and their ability to get the ball down the field.
Jimbo, what challenges does it present? It's not as if you knew coming into the week that Sean would be your quarterback. It wasn't until yesterday. So what challenges does it present, maybe flip midweek as opposed to having the whole week?
From a game plan perspective, not a lot. Mm-hmm. Just maybe a few things you may feature. But I think just getting him ready to go, I think from that standpoint. But he's been ready. And like I said, we spend a lot of time with these twos at quarterback challenging all the time. You practice as a starter. And it's a hard thing to do, but I think Sean's put in the time, and I think you'll see the payoff.
Talk to him about the moment, about marquee game, not the football stuff, but everything, bright lights, all that kind of stuff.
No, you talk about. You say, go play the game. That's what you don't want to focus on. What you want to focus on, it's a football game. There's a 100-yard field, it's 53 yards wide. It's got 2 goalposts on the end. It's just like in practice. You got to. When you lock it down and make the main thing, it's not about the height. Now, you got to handle that. You got to be able to deal with that and block out the clutter. But he's been in some situations and been around. But there'll be nerves. Any guy who's going to play his first game, I don't care who he is. And that's why you play anyway. And very anxious to see how he handles it. I think he'll do well.
Jimbo, your experience over the years with a lot of quarterbacks making their first start, can you kind of tell how they're going to react to the stage where you really don't know until they get out there?
You think you know? I'll put it this way. I wish I could sleep good. But I wish I could sleep good all the time. I mean, I even worry about the guys who started for 2 years. I don't sleep good. So, but from that, I think his consistency in practice to me says a lot. And the pressure, that's why I put a lot of pressure on guys in practice. I ride them, I'll push them, I'll challenge them for these moments that, even though you're a 2 and you don't think you're playing, I'm going to treat you like a 1. I'm going to treat you as hard and as tough because at quarterback, that's the only way you can put pressure on a guy. And he's performed well under that in practice. I mean, he makes mistakes like everybody else, but responds, has done a good job.
How are you balancing the reps between Jameis and Sean with the 1s? Do you have to rotate back?
No. Sean got all the reps with the 1s. Jameis has been with the 1s. He's been with them for a long time. There's no need for those. And I think it was good for those young guys to get Jameis with them because he started demanding and pushing them a little bit, and they had to pick it up a little bit. I think it helped our 2 receivers.
How's Jameis handled the last couple of days?
Been good. I mean, he understands it. He moved on as far as what he's doing as a team, and he's been extremely good to Sean, extremely good to our team, and from a morale standpoint, and been a great teammate.
Yesterday at his press conference, he said he was going to apologize to the team. Did he do like a big?
No, he talked to them. He talked to them in front of them.
Was there like a message that he had for him or something?
I let him talk to the team.
Some folks
That was none of my business.
some folks are calling the half-game suspension just a cop-out. What do you say to those folks?
We're in charge. It's our team. That's what we thought. We went with the consequences, and we're ready to move on. We're ready to go on to the next game.
Is there anything that Jameis specifically can help or teach Sean that maybe a coach can't just because he's
Yeah, I think from being there and nuances to each player and how each guy's in the huddle and how guys are used to things. I mean, there's a lot of little things players can talk that coaches can't because they know the nuances of the team even better.
How about on the sideline, Jameis being there for him when he comes off the sideline, being able to interact with him and talk to him?
I think it's critical and see his eyes and know he's got somebody there that's been in his shoes before. You know what I'm saying? I think that's very critical.
Jimbo, how did Jameis describe the incident to you? I know it's a internet kind of joke.
He was wrong and he made a mistake, and that he made a bad error in judgment. But, you know, that's water under the bridge. We got to move on and get ready for this game. We're 48 hours out, and I'm going to focus on this football game.
Does he understand why people might have taken it a different way than maybe it's intentional?
He may have, but I mean, he does. I mean, he understands all that. He admits he's wrong. He admits he shouldn't have done it. It was a spontaneous act and a irresponsible act, and he knows that.
What's new about the baseball suspension? Is this the first time he's been disciplined off-field stuff for football, or?
I'm gonna say yes.
Coach, you went on
First time he's done something wrong in football season when he's playing.
Stadium steps or anything like that before?
I'm sure he's had that somewhere. I'm sure he's had that somewhere.
Not here, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he has here. Most everybody here gets those at some point for something, class or whatever, but he's a good student. He don't have those issues.
Coach, you went on SiriusXM and you made a comment as far as sometimes you go back and forth, like, well, what would have happened if Maguire was in? What does Maguire do that maybe that stands out or is a little bit more unique in Maguire's sense as opposed to how Jameis plays as quarterback?
No, they're very similar. Like I say, they're extremely similar more than they are different. I mean, a lot of the same arm talent things and how they play the game and their running abilities are very similar. So there's not anything I think that they made like a couple play. You know, each individual, I like that play better than you like that play. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But I don't think there's anything really that much different.
You talked a lot about it a little last night at your call-in show. What does it do for the energy at practice when you have a guy taking reps, you know, and you know he's going to get his first start? Like, what does it do for the players around him?
I think it enhances their awareness to even say, you know something, this is a guy we got to take care of. We got to make sure he can do his job, so we make sure we don't make mistakes to having to make up for us. It's his first start. Let's let him. They've all been in those shoes before. They understand that, and I think they pick up. They even get hit another gear, in my opinion, of how they play and how the concentration level and their. Like I say, their relentlessness to not make mistakes.
You always talk about trying to fight against complacency this year. Does it make it easier, easier this week because you?
Well, I think from that standpoint, from your team's energy standpoint, knowing that it gives them something that, not that this game wasn't enough juice. I mean, it's enough on its own. But hey, we got somebody out there, one of our own. We're going to take care of him.
Why in this case was the president and Stan involved in deciding the discipline?
They're always involved in university policies. I mean, so. That's just the Florida. That's things at Florida State the way we do.
Oh, that's normal. I thought you kind of usually meted that out.
How comfortable do you think he'll be with the home crowd behind him?
I hope he'll be comfortable. I mean, I think he will, knowing he got all those folks cheering for him. Put it this way: if he looks up here, I think I got more folks than they got here. So I hope it does make him comfortable, and I think our fans will support him very well.
Do you take any comfort in the fact that you have a senior line, senior receiver, senior tight end, senior running
back?
I
do. I mean, I really do. I mean, I think that's a big. Like I said that with Jameis last year. A lot of guys had experience around him. I think allowed the quarterback to not have to worry about tons of other things. Just let me do my job, and then they'll do theirs. And then once that grows, I think that'll be very good.
Jimbo, realistically, Jameis is going to start the second half. How do you handle that, knowing that one guy's going to play the first half, the other guy's going to play the second half?
That happens every other position on the team all the time. That happens a lot. That's just football. And it's what if a guy has injuries? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's all part. I mean, this is from a coaching standpoint, you treat it just like an injury.
Yeah.
And you deal with it.
But a lot of those are in game. I mean, this is days leading up.
That's good. You get to plan for it. You get to know what you want to do and how you want to do things. So that's actually an easier, better way to do it. As far as from a standpoint of coaching, being able to not having to immediately pull it out and throw a surprise in there.
So that's kind of a game plan where you might have something different for the first half as opposed to what you
could be.
The second half.
I mean, and by what we see at halftime and what we were going to do and what Jameis does well compared to what Sean does well as far as plays.
Beyond just his consistency, what's the biggest area where you've seen Sean grow since he went from the fourth string quarterback to now?
I think his confidence. I think he realizes now from the scrimmages he's had and the success he's having and the guys he's been around, he feels very comfortable and knows that he can play at this level. Because even when you're young and you're working your way up that chart, there's still till you get out there and do it with the ones or a 1-2 practice or those big scrimmages and saying, can I really make the plays I need to make, do the things I need to do? And from that standpoint, you can see he feels very comfortable when you talk to him, the conversation back, what's going on, game plan, giving you ideas and things he likes. I see a confidence level in him since last spring. When he about halfway through that spring, he realized, something, I can do this and I can be a very good player.